Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan. I know Manson was reading the Satanic Bible when I knew him, but I thought it was silly. I was like, what is this? You got to be kidding me. Come on. So I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. And he used to try to get me to read it. And, you know, after I left the band, he was still into it, and I heard he was going to, like, met Anton and was into the church, and I still thought it was completely ridiculous. But then I read it. I actually sat down and I figured, well, I want to know what he's thinking. You know, I just want to kind of know, like, why he reads this. So I figured you really can't judge anybody until you've, like, walked in their shoes. So I picked it up and I read it. And it was cool. It's not even like a Bible. It's just kind of like a philosophy. It's almost like rehashed, like Nietzsche, Darwinism, you know, survival of the fittest, you know, give love to people who deserve it. And I think that's what attracted him to it. And I had already been thinking that way anyways. So it's like I had, like, as far as the Church of Satan goes, the Anton LaVey philosophy, I had already been living like that for years. And I guess that's why Manson wanted to turn me on to it. Because he's like, you're like a Satanist anyways. Like, why don't you... It has nothing to do with killing babies and drinking their blood and this and that. But some of the rituals they do, I think, are kind of silly. But the whole philosophy around it is, I guess, what attracted Manson to it, because it was like, it was shocking, but it had some sort of real philosophy where it was like strong and it made sense. Whereas like praying to somebody, some fairy tale, you know, or like, you know, going to church and saying a bunch of Hail Marys and you're forgiven, it didn't make sense. So I guess that's why he was attracted to that, you know, something to latch on to, something not necessarily belong to, but it was just, you know, made sense. And then also you say you're a Satanist and people are like, oh my God, you're like, you're crazy, what are you thinking? So that was very attractive, I guess. I don't know. I guess I guess Manson can keep making records, you know, because each record is sort of successful. But I think it's definitely gone downhill. I would like to see him do something completely different, like an acoustic record even, or something like really arty, where he like goes back to the Portrait days, where it is more creative and it's not so much like a pop song. You know, I would like to see that. But I don't know. He's definitely made his mark, and he really doesn't even need to do anything in the future. This day and age, like the attention span with people, it's amazing that it's lasted this long. You know, I don't know. I'd like to see him do something different. I think one of the secrets to our success was first we had catchy songs. You know, you could sing along to them. You know, we were entertaining to look at, you know, aesthetically, you know, as performers. Stage show, um, you know, we were just different. We were at the right place at the right time. You know, like the most popular music that at that time was grunge, and there was no stage show whatsoever. And I used to think, you know, when I go to a show, I want to see a show. I don't want to see some guy that just pumped my gas, you know. So that's kind of like we just emulated our influences, and I think that's why we became so popular. We were different, and I mean, we just knew it, you know. We had the attitude like we're rock stars. We weren't, but we were, you know, in our heads, and people could feel that. They could feel the excitement. Not necessarily they could feel that we were going to be huge someday or this and that, but it was just snowball effect, you know, the publicity, the propaganda we spread was a big part of it. Without that, it might not have happened. So you can't really put your finger on why, you know, who knows why anything happens, you know.